Ben Stevenson, artistic director of Houston Ballet, upon arrival in the People's Republic of China on a second visit to the Peking Dance Academy, is greeted by old friends, dance students, and officials from the Cultural Ministry. For the next month, Ben Stevenson's talents as a teacher and choreographer will be put to an unusual test. In his mind, he has planned an ambitious schedule of daily ballet classes, meetings with Chinese officials, banquets to attend, sights to see, discussions with Chinese dance teachers, and the rehearsal and staging of his own 2 ballets, Elle and 3 Preludes. Ben Stevenson is the first American choreographer-teacher invited to the People's Republic of China to teach classical ballet and brings to the task a wealth of talent. He was born in Portsmouth, England, and started dancing at an early age. He developed his career with the Royal Ballet and the London Festival Ballet, and later came to the United States to direct the Harkness Youth Dancers. Here he choreographed 3 Preludes, which won him high honors at the International Ballet Competition in Varna, Bulgaria. In 1976, he was invited to Texas to direct the Houston Ballet. His methods of teaching are recognized around the world, and his classes are imaginative, demanding, and often filled with humor. The Peking Dance Academy was founded in 1954 and flourished for 11 years. In the early years of the Academy, there was a great influence from the Russian classical ballet. During the Cultural Revolution in the People's Republic of China, the Academy was closed for 7 years. Today, the Academy thrives on classical Western dance and traditional Chinese dance, all part of a program to create a new Chinese ballet.
I think that there's a great wish from the students and the teachers in the school that they have a good dance company. And in order to really make that go, now they've got the dancers, they've got the talented students. What they need, I think, is to experience different forms of dance training, also go on working with their own traditional dances, and then somehow they'll intermingle something that will become Chinese ballet.
Instruction of classical ballet has fallen behind because of the political interruptions of the 60s. But now, to develop the Chinese ballet, students are enrolled in a 6-year program and come to Peking at young ages, ranging from 11 to 13 years. While here, they share a common goal of formal education and dance. They are well housed in dormitories, 4 to a room. There is no special diet, and food is varied and plentiful for the students. A favorite dish is a Chinese dumpling cooked in a massive steamer. The chef, Xu Shendong, has been with the Academy from its inception and is a superb cook. The ratio of students to staff is 1 to 1. The Academy supports 200 students and a staff of administrators, advisors, academicians, stage technicians, musicians, and dance teachers.
Teachers from the Peking Ballet Academy go out into all the towns in China, and they look at the schools. I know that in the schools around the country they have some sort of exercise class, and the teachers go to these exercise classes, and from the physical ability of the children, they are chosen, and then they go to their parents and say, you know, we like your child, we think they have the grace, the coordination to become a dancer. We would like to bring them to Peking for them to study ballet to see how they get along. I must say that coming and working here is an exciting thing because it's a challenge. Ballet sort of lends itself to many forms. You can draw in a lot into it, and I think that takes time. And 1, 2. Let the weight go into the heel. 2. Lift. 1 and 2 and 3. The students here have a very Russian background, which is probably stems back to around, I would think, 1949 or somewhere around then. I find the students are very keen. They're not stuck into their Russian training at all. The openness of the teachers and the students is wonderful. And close. Lift the instep. Up. Now support it, yes, up to that hip. I want them to express themselves. I want them to free themselves. I want them to not just think that dancing is a series of exercises. It's not a sport. One can express oneself through dancing, like you can express yourself playing the piano, or you can just hit the right note at the right time. Arm forward, and out, and through, and fifth, and through, and fifth, with the arm, 1, 2, 3, 4, fondue, 1, 2, 1, 2, head with the arm, and 2, and 3. Now stand up on this hip, and lift the instep, 2, and lift, and 2, and 1, 2, 3, hip, and up, 2, 1, 2, and 1, lift, 2. It's better. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and lift, heel, out, and rise on top, close, and 1, and 2, reach, turn the heel, and 4, and 1. The women in China are charming, and they're very polite, and they're very reserved, and I mean that comes through on their dancing. I mean, I think that their charm and their sensitivity is very much on the surface. Historically, women at one time in China, they had to have their feet bound to look beautiful, and it was a very painted sort of way of life. And 1, all right, okay, 2, all right, that's better. Not quite so pulling into the hip that time. Port de bras back, 2, 3, 4, and up, 1, 2, arabesque, attitude, 3, 4, passe, 5, 6, when you're teaching the class, I mean, you're teaching steps that they already know, whether it's a Russian training, English training, Italian training, or whatever training it is. Ballet steps are the same the world over. The style might be different. So when you're giving a ballet class, they already have an idea of the steps. They already know the French terms. So you've got that going for you. Arm forward. 2. And 1. Head with the arm and reach. And through. And right up the eyes. And 1. And 2. And 3. 4, and 1, 2, and 3, Rondisham, 4, 8, Rondisham, 7. 8. Before I came here, many people had said to me, well, you're going to find the people very unemotional in their classical ballet. It's very technical. And I did sort of find that. But the strange thing is they're so open that I found when I explained to them, I wanted them to move, I wanted them to, if it was a very quick step, I wanted to see that coming right through their bodies, and they just did it. I like to feel that it's fun when you teach. I like to have a certain sort of humor in the class, because I think it takes a lot of strain off the students, so that I think they seem very happy-go-lucky, and the Chinese have such a marvelous sense of humor anyway. in their efforts to be good and to catch up, that they're inclined to sort of push a bit too much. So they, rather than the dancing being an expression, sometimes there's an awful lot of strain and in the work. I don't think it's because they're unexpressive people, because you see it in their traditional dances. Traditional dances, I think that the girls really come alive. Their shyness, their reservedness, it's a part of the play of what it's all about. So that they're using the marvelous use of the fan and hiding her. They are this flirting, shy girls, and somehow they capture that so marvelously, I think. The more they can bring that feeling and even some of those movements from the traditional dances into their ballet, I think the more exciting it will become. See the boys do their traditional dances, and I watched 2 or 3 classes, and it was a joy because it's so contagious when they dance. And 1 and 2 and the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. Then on the leg. On, 2. Line 2, change the head, 3, and 4, and 5, 1 arm. I think we enjoy each other. I mean, I know that I enjoy the students, but it's got something not to do just with the class. I think somehow I feel that I have some rapport with them beyond the classroom thing. And 1, 2, change 3, and 4, and 5, and 6 and 7 and 8. Pas de basse. 1, 2. Change. 3. Plie second. Up. 4. Get there. 5. And up. And chassé pas de 1 and 2 and lift and 2 and 1 and 2 other arm 3 and 4 pas de basse 1 position up and change. Well, this time being in China has been more emotional than the last time, because the friends I made last time, my teacher friends and the students, and they have given me such respect and such love and friendship, and I just feel that it's been a very emotional trip. 3 and 4. 1, 2, change. 3. You know, I came to China, I thought I was going to see the Great Wall, I'm going to see the Forbidden City, I'm going to see all those things, not dreaming that the sights and the thing would be the people themselves. Once more each set.
Stevenson 先生是一个非常有经验的教师。
Mr. Stevenson is a very experienced teacher.
而且他在创作上也是非常有才能的。
He also has a great creative ability.
我们的教员还是年轻的。
Whereas our teachers are relatively young.
经验远远没有 Stevenson 先生丰富。
And they are far less experienced than Mr. Stevenson.
所以史蒂文森先生能够在我们学院里面教学过程中间，对于我们教师也是一个很大的提高，是一个很好的学习机会。
While he is teaching the students here, he's also giving the teachers an opportunity to learn a great deal.
If the positions, this is too rigid.
On most days following class or rehearsal, Ben Stevenson gets together with the teachers of the school and discusses the merits of the dance students, their personalities, their training, their attitudes, to help in this stage of the development of Chinese ballet. Although the emphasis is on the students of the Peking Dance Academy, the dance teachers are also attentive to the teaching methods of Ben Stevenson. In the People's Republic of China, classical Western ballet was officially recognized in 1954. Soon after, Russian choreographers came to teach and stage their ballets, but they withdrew in 1959. A few years later, the natural growth of the Chinese ballet was interrupted by the Cultural Revolution, and the ballet fell behind in the years 1966 to 1973. During the Cultural Revolution and the Gang of Four, almost all aspects of ballet disappeared, and most teachers were sent to the fields. What remained in its stead were Madame Mao's revolutionary operas and the ballets The White-Haired Girl and The Red Detachment of Women.
In the words of Mr. Stevenson himself, he came to China to see the Great Wall, but he discovered the Beijing Dance Academy.
1, 2, 3.
Soon after his arrival in Peking, Ben Stevenson goes to work rehearsing his two ballets, Elle and Three Preludes, while maintaining the daily teaching schedule.
5, 6. Naturally, when I'm teaching ballet here, I'm looking at it from a Western point of view. I'm used to now working in America for 12 years, where modern dance has played a great influence, really, particularly in choreography, in the movement. And so I'm used to that movement. Da, da, da. All right, just a minute. Whereas here, it is very much a rigid classical technique. But that doesn't mean to say they can't and won't do it. I mean, if anyone can, they will.
Elle brought something new to the students, a combination of modern music and classic dance steps. The development of the ballet is demanding both for the students and Ben Stevenson.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that musically it's different. You know, it's a percussion score. A lot of it has a rock sound, which they've not heard before.
1, 2, 3, 4, go! 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of dancing, you see. Dancing. Not da 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 da. Feel the music. Yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da da yada. Yes, feel the music. Not just 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da 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 dee da 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 dee. Yonder. All right, now. 8. I'm having to re-choreograph some of the pieces because of the differences in personality. 8. Can you do 1, 2? I had to give movements that I thought would start them 3, moving a little bit 4, and work with them so they would 6, get some feeling of 7, jazz and 8, about them. And they're loosening up, and I think it's something that's very interesting to do. Yes. Boom. Now this next movement is very sharp. Ah, da. Yes, but I want it in the face, Da. Not dead. Yeah. So you're here. Yes. Do your seesaw. Da, yeah. You see, right to the knee, to here. Now do your seesaw. It's something that has classical steps, and so in a way it's quite good for them because there's a classical form to it which has modern movement, a few modern movements, moving to music that they're not used to. And so hopefully that will free them up a bit. And seesaw out. No, it's one arm. Yes, there. Now as you come up, right up into that arm. There, now suddenly, da-da-da, let me see the next bit, go da-da-da-da-da-da. You see, da-da-da, it's a change, you must change. Seesaw and up. Now, da-da-da, lots of energy, it's different. Go, and ja-da-da-da. No, ja, da-da-da, face, da, face, da, face, da, ya. Yes, all right. Now you've got to be able to do that with the face. Ya, da. Not just step together. And then when you jump, it's like I'm having some electricity. You know, a big pin. You just go, yes, go, jump. Yes, that's it. And yes, Yes, you're off the music. and just you're going 1, 2, 1. It's da, ya, da, da, ya, da. You must really jump from side to side. They just did it beautifully, and now they just didn't do it.
这个形式的芭蕾舞啊，我们过去接触的一些东西。
Most of our experience has been with classical ballet, and to dance to this modern music is rather new to us.
Xiao Suhua and the students work hard, adapting to the demands and the daily rigors of the ballet Elle and Don Lawson's music.
I am helping Ben Stevenson to rehearse. I can't really raise it to the level which Ben does during his rehearsals. But through revision, I try to express all these qualities in the students or help them express it in themselves. We teachers and performers all like this dance very much because it expresses strength, masculinity, aliveliness, and spirit, which affects us in a positive way.
这种活力以及这个一种乐观主义的这种精神，对我们很有感染力的。
在那个复杂的还不算太复杂，因为我们
This dance is not very complicated.
刚开始的时候
In itself, the movements are not particularly difficult for us. But because the modern music is unfamiliar, we're having trouble adapting ourselves. This is good training for us, and we appreciate it.
One is drawn along the sacred way to the Ming tombs by sentinels, erected to serve the dead emperor and his wives in the next world. Excursions of the Forbidden City, the Great Wall, and now the Ming tombs give Ben Stevenson and the dance students a timely rest from the breakneck schedule of the ballet school. A time to relax and absorb some of the traditions and culture of this vast country. As a contrast to the Chinese ballet, the Peking opera is steeped in tradition. And since the 19th century, the Peking opera has dominated Chinese theater. The colorful costumes, elaborate makeup, stylized gestures, and intriguing plots come from a rich history, their origins long ago lost in antiquity. The opera has changed over the years, as new plays and new interpretations of old plays are performed.
When you go to the Peking Opera School, your job really is to preserve all those marvelous things that were done in yesteryear, which is marvelous because you've achieved something and you have to keep up that standard. Whereas the Peking Ballet is a pioneering thing and they still have a long way to go.
The opera is called Crossroads, and the performance is a special one by the young students of the Peking Opera Academy for Ben Stevenson. Rachmaninoff's music inspired Ben Stevenson to choreograph 3 preludes. At the same time he is rehearsing Elle and teaching classes, rehearsals begin on this romantic pas de deux. In contrast to Elle, 3 preludes brings problems which are more social than technical.
Now, and go. No. I've really put my neck in the noose here. I'm going to have a very big problem teaching this ballet because they're finding it very, very difficult to do. Slide. Once more. From the and It's too no, it's too no. It's too, they slide too early. We're working on the first prelude, and it's the most romantic of the 3. So the students or the dancers have to emote to one another much more in the first prelude than in the other 2. It's not, it has to be a little more daring, you know what I mean? Bar. It takes for young dancers more understanding perhaps to do the first prelude. Although the first prelude is not the hardest one to do. The second prelude is the hardest. But the first one, they need to relate to one another. It's a love duet really. And so when you're working with young dancers, it takes longer to get that across. There. Now go. Da, 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 da. Yes. I choreographed this ballet for older people. But it's there, and I think it's interesting. Why shouldn't it be done by young love rather than a mature thing? But it's just that they have to understand it.
No, key is dead. See? Once more from the same place. And one. And two. This is small. Face. Go on. All right, once more. Here. There. Now when you turn, look. You see, look. But when you're trying to get into subtleties, that's when the language problem comes. Because if you say look at one another, look at one another. But when you want to say now that person's looking at you, you feel their eyes looking at you. And to express things like that, I think is quite difficult to get them to do that. The subtleties, really. And one and two, small and three. Let me see your face on this face. Out, come run. On face. All right, once more. It's going to take us 5 days to rehearse this. Where do you go at the end? I think the first prelude in Western terms, I mean, if you saw the first prelude, you wouldn't think, my God, that's a romantic piece. But it does have romantic overtones. But as far as we're concerned, I mean, it's just something very gentle. Whereas here, the physical contact between two young people is something that's very new for them. And in my ballet Three Preludes, I mean, I just look upon that as, a little dancing piece and nothing more. Whereas here, when the boy holds the girl in his arms, there's a certain reserve. I feel the teachers go away in tears and they just have a cup of tea. When I started working on Three Preludes, I chose 3 couples, and they really work extremely hard towards it, and it seemed very sad that I had to replace the girl I first started working with, but she was extremely tall, and it's a very strenuous part of the day for the boy, and he was having a lot of problems lifting her.
I regret not being able to continue working on Three Preludes because I liked dancing it very much, but because I'm rather tall compared to the male dancer, it was difficult for us to coordinate.
We've been rehearsing this pas de deux for 3 weeks, and now with the sudden change of partners, there's an enormous pressure just with 3 days left to get the pas de deux on the stage. But sometimes I work better under pressure.
When you get to here, you see, really, you've got it's this awful thing, it's this awful thing of running in a plie to jump.
At first, I wasn't sure I'd be able to dance Three Preludes, but with the guidance of Mr. Stevenson and by trying to involve myself with the meaning of the ballet, I'm gradually coming to understand it.
1, 2, 3, and Sudabas. 1, 2, 3, and Sudabas.
First of all, I'd been going on about it not being a performance, but being a rehearsal, and rehearsing 3 preludes and rehearsing L and doing those ballets. More important than it being a performance was what we were all going to get out of it. And I was a bit dismayed when I arrived in the morning, because it suddenly became a performance which I didn't really expect. I thought there were going to be a few teachers, and I think the teachers in the school were quite amazed that so many people showed up for the performance. So it was quite nerve-wracking for everyone.
I would like to thank everyone in the Academy, particularly the students.
Ben Stevenson's journey to the People's Republic of China is over, and he leaves with tears. Tears of joy, of sadness, and for a task well done by all. He will return to Peking to share his special talents and energies with the young and vibrant Chinese dancers. A pas de deux between two countries has begun.
Coming this morning, and what a difficult time it is for me now, leaving China after 4 weeks, because it has been an extremely happy time for me.